Oh, that song. Thank you, Jenny Lynn, for sharing that song by Alicia Keys. It brings tears to my eyes, and I know it does for some of you as well. I can see it in the chat. Alicia Keys wrote this song to talk about the disconnect between wholeness, between what brings us in alignment with what is holy, what reminds us that we are holy, that there is a part of us that is grace filled and untouchable by the world, and also this disconnect of the realities of what we actually value as a society, the things that separate us, divide us, pull us from wholeness, oppress many of us, and kill others. Holy war is a call to recognize within our culture the soup we're swimming in that pulls us from wholeness. My mentor, Mary Morrissey, often says, if you want to know what you really believe, look at your checkbook and your calendar. The things that get your attention, that's what you're allowing yourself to value. And oftentimes, even in my calendar, there are things on there that don't help me feel whole. There are things that take a lot of energy that don't give to the world in the way I want to see them give, the way I want to see my time, my talent, and my treasure work. And I bet there are some things on your calendar too. And I'm going to invite you to put some things in the chat right now that might be on your calendar or might have been on your calendar in the last week or two that aren't in alignment with who you want to be in the world. Maybe it was an extra meeting or an extra call or yet another Zoom that pulled you away from someone that you love or from getting out in the garden. But go ahead and put that in the chat. These things, they get our attention and they pull it from what is truly, truly meaningful. And then there are the things in our world that tell us that we're not enough. Things that get in our heads and influence what we say to ourselves in the mirror in the morning. And maybe you want to put some of those in the chat. The things that treat us like Ron Torina was treated, that tell us we can't possibly be a dancer. Society's idea of what is beautiful is often young, white, cisgendered, and able bodied imagery, photoshopped to the impossible and most unattainable standards. I remember Cindy Crawford once saying, I wish I looked like Cindy Crawford. Her statement referred to the airbrushing of her photos that made her look very different than she looks in real life, a surreal and unattainable version of herself, as if the supermodel needed more improvement, as if any of us need more improvement. What does that say about our culture and our understanding of being whole? As Universalists, we reject the notion of original sin. And yet, if you open up Facebook, if you turn on the news, we are told over and over and over again that simply by being, we are not whole. We are not enough. We are not deserving of grace. We are something less than human. Maybe it's because of our size, our shape, our wrinkles, our height. And yes, I see a shout out to Lizzo. What? That's right. Talk about body positivity and strength and power. Lizzo, thank you, Louise, for bringing that up. What are some of the things that maybe you're holding in your heart? Some of the voices that talk to you when you look in the mirror that say that you're not whole, that you're not deserving of grace. that your inherent worth and dignity is somehow less than others because you don't have the right car, the right zip code, the right dress size. Maybe you wear glasses, or maybe you use a wheelchair, or maybe something else. And the world consistently sends messages that say you're not enough. But as Unitarian Universalists, that is anathema to our theology that calls us to believe that we are enough, that everyone is enough, that we are all inherently good. We are all inherently whole. Sonia Renee Taylor's poem calls to me because in it is a brave and strong reminder that our bodies are not an apology. We are not apologies. We are not the failed test. The body is not a cavity. It is not a hole to be filled, to be yanked out. It is not a broken thing to be mended. The body is not a prison. It is not a sentence to be served. We are inherently enough. A lot of us had high hopes that if something good could come out of this pandemic, it could be that we would emerge with more of a sense of wholeness. Maybe carve out some time for meditation or something else, learn to forgive a little more, learn to cultivate some compassion. The thing is, the messages that we receive every day, the messages that tell us that we're not enough, they're still coming at us. And our supports, the things that used to hold us and remind us that we are worthy, they're not quite there in the same way. We're not able to hug our loved ones or high five. We're not able to share space and to know that we're breathing the same air, even though the truth is we're always breathing the same air. So where does that leave us? How do we craft new supports in this time? How can we reconnect with a sense of wholeness? How do we even get the strength to drop the things from our calendar that pull us away from the possibility of grounding ourselves in our own wholeness so that we can do the justice work we are called to do, so that when we are feeling sad and lonely and vulnerable, we don't strike out at others to try to fill that hole. So we don't try to fill that hole with Netflix or food or alcohol or cigarettes or something else, but instead allow the grace within, that part of us that is untouchable by the world, to glow and grow and flow and radiate out of us. In War Zone Faith, UU military chaplain George Tiger says, job and mission are not synonymous with our calling or purpose. My religious tradition teaches us that our calling is to be as fully human as possible. Whatever job we're called to do, we must do it as our most authentic selves. What is your authentic self? Have you had time? Have you had quiet? Have you had fresh air to connect with your authentic self? I'm hoping that you'll join me right now in a short 5-ish minute meditation. Wherever you are, this meditation is appropriate for all ages. You don't have to sit perfectly still. You can be however your body needs to be in this moment. The invitation is to focus on your breath, to begin to center yourself in this very basic, life giving gift of breath, flowing in and out, breathing in to the count of 4 and out to the count of 8. In to the count of 4 and out to the count of 8. And you can keep your eyes open, watching the screen, or you can allow your eyes to close naturally as you breathe. And as you notice that you're breathing in to the count of 4 and out to the count of 8, you'll notice quickly that maybe your mouth gets dry. So go ahead and swallow when that happens. Your breathing will start to slow and to deepen even more. And when that happens, gently raise your shoulders and exhale, dropping those shoulders, relaxing your head and your neck and your shoulders. Releasing your arms, your elbows, your wrists, and your hands. Relax your chest and your back. Relax your legs and relax your feet. And as you relax, I invite you to think of a moment in your life where you felt peace and connection, where you felt whole. Maybe it was while you were on a sailboat, gently rocking with the waves. Maybe it was moving through an old growth forest or sitting under a tree with a book. Maybe it was while you were gardening or dancing or singing or painting or something else. But I invite you to call up that moment. To let it grow in your heart. The peace of these moments, these precious moments where we know we are a part of something larger, maybe even held by something larger than ourselves, an interconnected web. Reminds us that we're not alone, that we are enough, that we are more than what others might tell us we are. We are inherently worthy. And I invite you to let this memory fill you, to let it fill your heart and your body. Maybe it feels like warmth or a lightness filling your chest and your abdomen and your back, and your neck and your head and your shoulders and your arms. Maybe it fills your legs and your feet and the space around you. Maybe it reaches out to your room, into your home, to the street. When we allow our wholeness and our knowing that we are whole to glow and to grow, it centers us and it centers those around us. So I invite you to take a few breaths, resting in this moment of wholeness. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, open your eyes if you have them closed, and come fully back to this moment, aware of your wholeness. And I ask you, what do you crave that brings wholeness, that knowingness that you are whole? What helps you to remember what puts you back together in that energy of wholeness? And what will you commit to doing this week to reclaim that sense of wholeness? Just one thing this week. And if you want some accountability buddies, put it in the chat. What will you do this week that will help you reclaim that knowing that you are whole, that helps you connect with your authentic self so that you can do the job that the world needs you to do? So you can answer the call to create more love and more justice in the world. Yeah. I see some of you are starting to put things in the chat, and that's great. We can hold this for each other. We are separated by distance, but we are still connected. And this time on Sundays is an opportunity for us to be each other's accountability buddies, to remind each other that we are inherently worthy, that everyone is inherently worthy, and then call each other to live from that space of wholeness in the world and to call the world to be more just, to create more justice. I hope you will join me in this work this week and going forward. Know that I'm believing in you, that we get to believe in each other as we do this work of living, of glowing, of growing, and of creating justice. Amen, and blessed be.